Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome back to another episode of UNC Hoops Talk podcast. So hyped to be here in these circumstances. Obviously, if you're watching this, you'd know by now the Tar Heels are Final Four bound. We are headed to Phoenix. We're on our redemption tour. It continues on into Phoenix. Huge game. So pumped. Excited. I don't even know what to say. I'm going to try to put it into words here for the podcast and do my best to relay that over to you guys and have a conversation. This is the podcast for the fans by a fan, and I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I'm so excited. I'm trying to get my words about here. You guys know about Luke Maye and the shot that will go down into Tar Heel legacy, into Tar Heel. I don't know what. Again, I don't have the right words for it. I'm just trying here my best, and I'm glad you're along the way. By the way, I am Dan DeWitt, your host here at the UNC Hoops Talk podcast, and I am so glad that you are here to join me on this path, the Tar Heel season, as we've been podcasting this whole season, and our journey to Phoenix here for the Final Four over Kentucky. It doesn't get much sweeter than that, but I'm glad you're listening, you're watching, however it is. Doing this a little bit different. I'm live on YouTube with a couple of people watching, live on Periscope, at least for the beginning here. And this will be, on YouTube. It'll be on iTunes, anywhere a podcast can be found. It'll pretty much be there. And I'm glad that you're listening. I thank you for the support, and I would encourage you to share it out to anybody that you know is a Tar Heel fan as well. For you guys on Periscope, share this out on Twitter, Facebook. Hit that share button. Let's again unite Tar Heel Nation. That's what I want to do here on the podcast. That's what I have always tried to do here with the podcast, and I didn't think any better day than today. It is a great day to be a Tar Heel. That cannot be said enough. So yeah, we got people joining here on Periscope, people sharing it out. It's just awesome. I guess we should probably start with the Butler game before we get to the Kentucky game. So I hope you guys will kind of come along on this journey with me as we go. Yes, people saying how pumped they are on Periscope. Me too. I can't even put it into words how pumped. I usually try to stay pretty calm during games, and for the last 10 minutes, probably 5 minutes at least, I did not move a muscle. And I think many of you were probably there with me because of the superstition. We were leading. It was close. We were doing all right. Don't move. Don't jinx anything. But when when Theo passed him the ball, I jumped up ready for that buzzer-beating shot that Luke hit. And yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. But again, let's start with the Butler game. Last time I podcast, we previewed the Butler game, and then we looked ahead to either UCLA or Kentucky because we did not know who we were playing yet. But really not much to say about the Butler game. We got out to a quick start. We controlled the game pretty much throughout. They made a little bit of a run in the second half. I think Roy even took a timeout, kind of calmed them down. Guys, Arkansas made a run. We didn't answer, and they took the lead. Let's get our wits about us. And they did. They did a good job of kind of ending that run. Again, winning fairly easily, 12-point win. I didn't really feel it was ever in jeopardy. I think we had it up to 20, so they let up a little bit, but really we had control of the Butler game from start to finish. Don't feel like there's too much to say there. Led by Joel Berry, 26 points. Justin Jackson, 24 points. 5 assists, 5 rebounds for him. Kennedy Meeks added just 5 points, but 11 rebounds. Isaiah Hicks, just 9 points. And really even Theo, just 5 points, but he did add 4 assists as well. Got 16 points from Luke Maye off the bench. Hit 3 threes. I think this was his first double-double, right? 16 points, 12 rebounds in 25 minutes. And yeah, obviously, as we get into the Kentucky game as well, we know how huge Luke was for that one. But ended up being, and again, I'm jumping ahead of myself, but Most outstanding player of the South region, 33 points between the Butler game and the Kentucky game, shot 62%. It was a huge weekend for Luke Maye. But we found our starting four next year. I think he will start next year. He's our, we'll have a stretch four. Obviously, we know we're losing Kennedy and Isaiah, and he puts him into position where I don't think you can. Unless we get Knox and Roy decides to start him at the 4, because like Justin and Theo are both back at 2 and 3. I don't think there's any way you don't start Luke Maye. And with Tony down low and how he will, control the paint there. Luke obviously can score in the point, when needed, but more importantly, can stretch the floor for our drivers, our cutters. And then obviously for Tony or whoever it will be in the post. I don't think there's any way he doesn't start unless Kevin Knox comes and starts in the 4. But I think we got a gem. Obviously Roy said it in the post game. He came in as a walk-on, and now he's doing these things. 33 stinking points in the Sweet 16 Elite 8. There's no bigger stage than that. So yeah, that's the story of the Butler game. We got to a quick start. Joel, Justin, and then obviously Luke leading the way. We shot the ball fairly well, 38% for the game from 3, 54% from the field, just 64% from the free throw line. And most of that in the second half. We were 59% from the free throw line in the second half. But again, we did not really need that. And people were getting mad, Twitter and group chat that I'm in with Carolina fans. What's up with the free throws? I said, hey, we're saving them for the end of the game. We're saving them for next game. And, great transition into Kentucky game. We finished the Kentucky game with some big time free throws between, I think Isaiah hit a couple, Theo hit 4, Luke hit a couple. Luke, as far as Tar Heel fans go, and as far as that goes, he's propelling himself, or he did really, into, I don't want to say quite Tim Tebow-esque realm, or Tyler Hansborough. He's not in that category yet, and I don't think he will be. But he's going to be a fan favorite from here on out. People are going to remember that shot. They're going to, they're going to be able to talk to him, and he's going to be able to talk to people about that shot the rest of his life. Phenomenal. So yeah, that brings us obviously to the Kentucky game. UCLA, Kentucky. Kentucky kind of handled that game. I don't remember what the score is, how many they won, but again, it kind of felt like never really in that much jeopardy. It didn't feel like UCLA had the run to come back and beat Kentucky. Obviously, we know they have the offense to do it, don't have the defense to it. I had said I wanted to play UCLA mostly because of it being played in Memphis, and I didn't want Kentucky to have that home game and home court advantage against us. You could hear it at times on TV that it was mostly Kentucky fans in the building in Memphis. But our guys, again, that experience that we know that they have, they were there last year. They know what it takes, and they kind of corralled that. And we got off to a pretty good start. I think it was 5-0 before they scored. We led the entire first half. Unfortunately, we only led by 5 at halftime. I think we should have had a bigger lead. We had De'Aaron Fox with 2 fouls. We had Malik Monk with 2 fouls. I believe even Bam had 2 fouls in the first half. I know at least all 3 of them were sitting on the bench for a decent stretch. Fox for a big stretch of the first half. And someone's saying the officiating is bad on Periscope. It was, but I don't think, as much as Cal was talking about in the post game that it was one-sided. I don't feel like it was that one-sided for Kentucky. I do think it was maybe a little bit more on their side, if we're being truly honest. But I think we had some bad calls against us. Theo had 2 for us. I think there was one on Isaiah that was not a foul, that was called a foul in the first half. So I don't think it was totally one-sided. I don't think the officiating was good, but I don't think that's what it is. Again, it comes down to how you react to how the officiating officials are calling the game. When we played Duke in the ACC tournament, we did not adjust and we did not react to the officials well, and it cost us the game. They did not react well, and we did not get as flustered today, last night, to the officials, and it affected them. Now they did stick with us. You have to give their second unit a lot of credit. Isaiah Humphries came in and knocked down shots. Let's see, who was it? Not Briscoe, but it was Hawkins. Dominique Hawkins came in and had a big presence in that stretch. I'm trying to think who else. I think Mulder hit. No, he didn't have any points. So I was thinking he hit a 3, but they stuck with us and really even shrunk that lead to get it down to 5 without Fox, without Monk in the game. But yeah, we go into halftime 38-33. Again, I didn't feel that comfortable because there was only 5. With those guys on the bench, I felt like it should have been a bigger lead for us. We should have been out in front. It would have been great to have a 12, 14-point lead at halftime, and for them to have to fight back a little bit more when they finally got their starters back in. But it is what it is. We did not start the second half off good. And some of that, we've talked about it and on Twitter plenty, how Carolina does not end halves really well. Sorry, I got distracted. It's not a Steve Smith hat. It's a Carolina hat. And I totally lost it. We do not end halves well. We have let too many teams go on runs and either take the lead or get right back into the game at the end of halves. And it's a little bit of stuff that. And then the start of the second half, it happened again. I think they said between the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half, that we had like 10 empty trips where we either missed shots, turned the ball over, just whatever. Did not convert on 10 straight trips, and they were right back in the game. I think they got the lead early in the second half. We got it right back. We led for a while, and then they got about halfway through the second half, they took another lead. And then obviously late, they took a lead and actually went up 5 before Roy took the timeout, and we went on a 12-0 run there. So, I don't want to get ahead of myself too much. We played a even second half. They actually, as I look at it here, they outscored us by 3 in the second half. Obviously, we're leading by 5. We win by 2. They outscored us by 3 in the second half. And about 7 minutes left, I was worried because our offense was not clicking. It was, we looked disoriented on offense. We were not converting, not taking good shots. And they were pounding into Bam. He was getting stuff going. And that's, again, when they caught up, took the lead once. And I was worried. We looked tired. Again, our offense did not look good. And then it got down to, I think it was right at 5 minutes. It was like 5:01, 5:04, something like that, because I was waiting for that under 4 timeout. But Roy takes a timeout, which always gets criticized about when he takes his timeouts and stuff like that. But takes a timeout, calms the guy down. Obviously, if you've watched any post-game interviews, he reminded them of the Arkansas game. We were in the same situation. We're down 5, 3 minutes, 5 minutes left. That was good practice for us. Remember what happened. Let's execute. Calmed them down, and we went on a 12-0 run and got the lead back, obviously. And then at the end of the game, let's see, I don't remember how much I think we got up by only like 4, and they went down. They were hitting threes. They hit 3 threes, and I think in 3 trips. Monk had 2, and Fox had 1 in the corner. We were hitting free throws for the most part. Obviously, Justin missed the front end of the 101 there that Monk hit his last 3 to tie it off of. But he, goes down, and a lot of people were saying their last play where Monk hit that 3 was the same play that Kansas won the national championship in 2008 against Calipari's Memphis team. He goes down, he ties it. I don't know about that because that's a pretty common play. I mean, he just came off like a double screen, hit a 3 up top, tied it up. They were, and if you've seen the videos of bars in Kentucky or with Kentucky fans in, just going absolutely nuts. Cal said in his postgame he thought about a timeout there, and he should have taken a timeout just to stop us. We all know Roy's philosophy: if there's more than 5 seconds. He will not take a timeout. He wants to push and get a shot without a timeout. They got it into Theo. He drives down, and very similar to the play that Villanova beat us in the championship, dishes it back to Luke Maye, who steps right into it just inside the three-point line, swishes it. I mean, it doesn't get any more storybook than that. When the guy comes in as a walk-on, is offered a scholarship late in the recruiting process, doesn't play much as a freshman, puts in the work. You know, the conversation between Roy and Luke is kind of out there now about the offseason, where he's told Roy, nobody's going to outwork me this offseason. And we've talked about how much Justin has worked in this offseason to get to where he is. Luke, you know, takes advantage of that in these last 2 games, knocks down a long 2 with 0.3 seconds left. Essentially, the game is over. I mean, they have to go the length of the court in 0.3. You can't catch and shoot with 0.3, or maybe it's the last time you can catch and shoot. But, I mean, essentially, it's almost got to be a tip at 0.3. And yeah, they got to go the length of the court. There's not time for a Christian Laettner, you know, turn, dribble one time, shoot kind of thing. I was disappointed the refs stopped the clock, because it seemed like they stopped the play because they wanted to check if it was a 2 or 3. It was a little bit closer than what I thought it was, but I was like, there's no way that was a 3-pointer. That was easily a 2-pointer. And again, it was a little bit closer than I thought, but I thought they should have just played it on right there. Maybe Kentucky would have taken a timeout anyway, probably, but you know, maybe not. Maybe they would have tried to just throw it long and whatever. But I also thought that, you know, Roy put Tony in to put him on the ball there to, you know, jump up and get in his way and make him throw a little bit higher. But I thought that he should have had like Kennedy and Isaiah in there. Maybe Isaiah would have got called for a foul if he was in there. But because it had to be a tip, they had to throw it to the basket pretty much. You know, they could get it and just tip it or just touch it, and the clock would have ran out as well. But you know, he didn't. They throw it long. And again, here's what I don't get is the refs go to check, and I believe Cal wanted them to check to see if Theo had touched that ball when they threw it long. But to me, if Theo touches that ball with 0.3 seconds of it, takes longer than 0.3 from when he would have tipped the ball to would have been out of bounds, where the game would have been over. So I don't know why Cal wanted them to check to see if he tipped it. He did not tip it, and so the ball goes back to where they threw it inbounds. We get the ball, we throw it in. And at that point too, I'm like, hey, just hand them the ball. If they catch the ball, they can't get a shot off, or throw it at their back if they're going to deny. You know, it wasn't a big deal. We pass it in. I think it was Bradley caught the ball. Game was over. Tar Heels going on to Phoenix, and again, there's no better feeling than this. I kind of said it before the game. Got to be kind of careful here, knock on some wood. But this felt like the championship game. Whoever was going to win this game should be favored to win the championship. That's actually not the case. And I've seen some, I don't know, tweets about bookies in Las Vegas, whatever, that actually give Gonzaga the best odds to win the championship out of these 4 teams. But to me, if we're playing, you know, these teams, we should beat them. We should be favored to beat them. Unless we overlook somebody. And that's why I say be careful, knock on wood, make sure we take care of business here. But if Kentucky would have won, I'd feel like they should beat any team they match up with the rest of the way. So yeah, great game. As far as stats goes, Justin led us with 19 points, had 5 rebounds, 4 assists as well. Joel Berry, 11 points, 4 rebounds. Did miss a little bit of time there with another sprained ankle. It actually was the other ankle, his left ankle this time. We got to get Joel some new shoes or something. I mean, these low tops that he's, or mids or whatever they are not working. Joel, if you're listening to this, like, you've sprained your ankle too many times. Get some new shoes, whatever. I don't think it's necessarily the shoes. I'm mostly kidding there. But we did miss Joel there. Gave us a little scare. He obviously is not shooting as well because he can't get the lift or can't push off or whatever. But he was really aggressive going to the hole. Made them pay a lot for, you know, when we spread the floor out or helping on the wrong side, and you know, getting to the hole, getting fouled, you know, drawing some of those fouls on their guards and just putting pressure on their defense. Had some nice dumps off to our big guys, but I mean, we had Justin Jackson 19, Joel Berry 11, and then the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, Luke Maye, 17 points in this game in 20 minutes. Obviously, the game winner, most outstanding player of the South region. Phenomenal job by Luke Maye. 2 for 3 from the 3-point line again. I mean, just can't say enough about the kid. But those 3 are the only 3 that were in double figures for us. Theo Pinson, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, but also 3 turnovers. Kennedy Meek, 7 points, but did play huge rebounding, played great defense on Bam. 17 rebounds in this game for Kennedy. And Isaiah Hicks, 4 points, did have 3 blocks, and I should say Kennedy Meeks as well, 4 blocks for Kennedy. 0 rebounds for Isaiah Hicks, and he played 20 minutes as well. So him and Luke Maye are pretty much splitting the game straight up 20-20. And I kind of said that, I don't know if it was during the game or after the game, probably after, because I did not touch my phone because, like I said, I was not moving for the last part of the game. But it seems like Luke is stealing minutes from Isaiah, and you can't blame him the way he's playing. Maybe it'll be different here in the Final Four. But, you know, to have Isaiah Hicks on the bench for the end of that game and for a big stretch there, I mean, again, I can't blame Roy for doing it, but so, you know, if somebody would have told you at the beginning of the season that Luke Maye is going to be stealing minutes like this from Isaiah Hicks in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 and pretty much lead us or get us to the Final Four, you would have had a lot of people laughing at you, I think, pretty much everybody. But shoot 69% from the free throw line. In the game, we were 54 in the first half. Like I said, huge ones in the second half, 85%. Shot 47% for the game, just 20% from the three-point line. You know, we were just 3 for 15, whereas they were 7 for 19. So we did have to fight that. Again, 3 of theirs were late. But yeah, someone's talking about Stillman White. Stillman White gave us some great minutes. And for that matter, he's only getting credit for 1 minute here, but Seventh Woods didn't play a horrible minute there. He had a great assist to Tony Bradley, I think it was. He was up by half, found him, dumped it inside to Tony Bradley. Stillman White gives solid minutes, minus the turnover where he lost control of the ball and kicked it out of bounds where he probably would have had a layup. But, you know, 5 minutes from Stillman. And some of those, you know, people were talking about Nate Britt being shaky with his hand, you know, with the handles and stuff. And I kind of agreed. I thought Stillman could have been in there for some of those minutes that Nate had, where Nate was, you know, he had just two turnovers, but it kind of felt like more where he just. But again, it's probably the defense. I think Nate is quicker on his feet to play defense against some of those guards of Kentucky, whereas Stillman is not quite as quick. But I don't know. I've probably said enough about this game. You know, between this one and the one we played in the regular season with Kentucky, I would guess some of the higher rated games for networks, for ESPN and for CBS in this case. For them, you know, we talked about just 3 of our guys in double figures. They have, you know, 10 in double figures. They had Bam with 13, De'Aaron Fox 13, Malik Monk 12, Humphreys had 12, and then Dominique Hawkins had 10 as well. Obviously, if Monk wouldn't have hit that 3 late, he would have had 9. I think he had 2 late threes, so we held him pretty good. De'Aaron Fox, you know, coming off a 39-point game against UCLA, just 13 points, so we obviously held him. And if he would have had a late 3, just he would have had 10 points. So yeah, we played great defense. Yes, Fox did grow up as a Tar Heel fan, but you know, our defense was much better this game than against the Arkansas game for sure, but also just the last time we played Kentucky in the regular season. So give our guys a lot of credit there. A lot of heart. You know, Joel Berry playing on his injured ankle. You know, Luke Maye stepping up, like you said. You know, Kennedy with 17 rebounds and great defense on Bam. So many people stepped up. We played well, and again, that's why if we play like this, there should be no reason we don't win the championship. Again, that doesn't mean anything's guaranteed. Crazier things have happened before, but I just think, you know, the way we're going and what we're doing and who we have, the experience we have, and the talent we have, it's kind of there before us to take home the championship this year. So Yeah, a couple of comments as I'm doing this live on YouTube as well. Joe Bailey, killer instinct is very important. I think we got that. We've kind of not earned it, but gained that over the last 2 years with both of our Final Four runs now. And as he's talking about the breakdown now, the Final Four game into Oregon. I am going to podcast, or at least I plan on podcasting later this week and break down the entire Final Four. I would like to take a little bit of a look at Oregon here. We play Oregon on Saturday, April 1. We are the late game, so Gonzaga and South Carolina will play at 6 Eastern on CBS, and then we will tip 40 minutes following that. So right now on the GoHeels.com website, it says 8:49 Eastern. Obviously, that depends on how long that game takes. If it's a quick game, we'll be a little bit quicker, sooner than that. If it goes into overtime, obviously, or it just takes longer, it could be close to more 9 Eastern. But big game coming up on Saturday, obviously. Final Four game. I would love to hear if anybody listening is going to that. Hit me up on Twitter, AllTarHeelDan. Put it in the comments of YouTube or here on Periscope. It says, who will be the UNC Homer Network? I'm guessing it'll be the same as last year, which they had Brendan Hayward on there as far as North Carolina guys. But so, yeah. Saturday night, Oregon. The Ducks have not been to a Final Four since 1939, which is the first kind of Final Four, whatever the first championship kind of there was. And there wasn't really even a Final Four. It was, only the championship teams went to the site as far as the championship goes. So it wasn't a true Final Four. They were in the Final Fours as they were one of the last 4 teams to play. And then on the other side, Gonzaga and South Carolina. Again, we'll get into this later this week. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that podcast as well. And let me know if you'd like me to do it live, like I'm doing this and periscoping it. If you're interested in that, can definitely make that happen. But yes, there was only 8. Someone's who is it? Sir Puffalot says there's only 8 teams. Then yes, only 8 teams made the tournament, and so they only had to win 1 game. Oregon, that is, to make the Final Four back in 1939. So we have the experience. Now we need to, Oregon is talented. They didn't beat Kansas. They haven't gotten here, even though missing Bosher, or however you say his name, if they weren't good and talented. So they have the talent. I don't think they're as disciplined as we are. Obviously, they're not as experienced in the tournament as we are. So we have those things going for us. And so we got to take advantage of it. We got to take care of business. Like I said, we should win the championship if we don't overlook anybody. But that's a big if. Crazier things have happened, and we just need to take care of ourselves, execute and play our game, and we're going to be all right. It'll be interesting for matchup wise. We should own the rebounding advantage like we have all year. Don't need to talk about that too much, but as long as we play our game there, the interesting part will be kind of on the wings. Justin Jackson, who he guards, their wings can get out and play and score, and also trying to stop Justin Jackson as well. That is the key matchup to me is who they put on Justin Jackson and who Justin Jackson is to guard. Although he played great defense. He was on. Who did he start off on against Kentucky and play a lot of? I think it was Monk. I think we had Theo on Fox, at least to start the game, and then Joel Berry was on Briscoe, and Justin Jackson was on Monk. And obviously we did, yes, thank you, Sports Guy Show. He was on Monk. And, obviously we just talked about how we held Monk down for a lot of the game as a team, but that was Justin Jackson, at least to start the game and for a lot of the game. So, that's the key matchup to me. Again, we should, our guards will play them even, if not win that advantage, and then our big guys have the advantage inside as long as we take advantage and control the boards there. They do have a big time shot blocker in Bell. He had 8 blocks against Kansas, which is interesting. Bosher, the guy they lost, is the leading shot blocker in the Pac, or was in the Pac-12 this year, but Bell is the leading shot blocker in Oregon history over his career. So he has a history of blocking shots. We got to make sure we, get him in foul trouble or drive and then dump off to our big guys so he can't just be blocking our shots. But again, we have what it takes. We just got to put it out there, execute, and play our game. And as Tar Heels, we got to do our thing as far as superstitions. I have my game day shirt now. It's every big game this year. I have had it on, and you better believe it'll be on. I wore it dirty yesterday because I had worn it for the Butler game because I wasn't taking any chances. And I wore it again on Sunday for the game. It will be washed now before this weekend, but you can guarantee it'll be on for the game on Saturday night and definitely Monday as long as the Tar Heels are in it. So I think I've kind of gone on here long enough. I'd love to hear the feedback and comments from you guys about doing Periscope during the game, about what your superstitions are. If anybody's going to Phoenix, I was so close. I was contemplating. I looked up flights. I looked up game tickets. But because I went to the ACC tournament this year, I just can't make it work. I can't do it. But if you're going to be in Phoenix, I'd love to hear from you, all that stuff. So Puffle, we're going to get into the rest of the Final Four later this week. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast. You can subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, pretty much any podcasting app, SoundCloud. It'll be out there. Make sure you subscribe so that later this week, hopefully Thursday, I'm going to record that podcast. And if you'd like me to do on a Periscope, we can probably make that work as well. But thank you guys for joining. Again, thanks for the support, listening, sharing this out to all the Tar Heel fans and friends and family that you have. And nothing else needs to be said than go Heels.